The only thing though is when you have a big tent, you feel like you got to bring so much. Like when people have the small one, you're like, all right, I'm pack this, and then I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have the big one, you're like I have a blow up couch. I didn't bring it. I'm like, should I bring the blow up couch? Yeah, I could. You could put like I said, oh, should I bring the blow up? Then I got like an ottoman chair and stuff like that. Blow up. What should I bring,
You
man?
should set that up right at the finish line.
Oh, and welcome back. We are live again. We are at the Sassquad Trail Runners Wild Goose Trail Festival. We are live where Sassquad is worldwide. I am your host today, Mr. Elmani S. Viney, marathoner, ultra marathoner, and avid trail runner. But right now is not about me. It's about the great runners that are out here on this absolute beautiful Saturday. So let me go ahead and give you an update on what everyone is doing now that the race is off and running. Hold tight for a second. And so we have four races that are currently out: the 100, the 100 kilometer, the 50 miler, and the 36 hours. Currently, right now, in the 100 miler, we have Scott Myers, Marco Rita, and David Kavanaugh that are leading in the 100 miler for the men's. On the women's side, we have Kyla Altman, Jen Altman, and Vanessa Klein. For the 100 kilometer, Rebecca Doring is moving. And when I say moving, she is moving. And on the men's side, there's Daniel Minda. In the 50 miler, we have Miss Stephanie Lewis, who is out there, and she is hauling as well. And then cult favorite, legend, soon to be legend, Benjamin Kopp on the 50 miler. I watched Big Ben come through with the first lap, and he barely stopped to get any nutrition. The guy is a beast, absolute beast. On the 36 hour, we have Nicola Font, and on the men's side, Chris Cunningham. And so, all the runners out there, again, good luck, congratulations. Every lap you do is a victory. So, we'll be talking more about you as the day goes along. But I have a special guest for everybody. We could not begin the rest of this live stream without bringing in the lady of the century, millennium, the legend, my good friend, and the race director extraordinaire, Miss Kim Levinsky. Kim, how are you?
Man, what an intro, Amani. That was freaking cool. This is great. I can't believe this whole setup. This is unreal.
Yes, this
I
is.
just pitched the idea of let's do a live stream, and then you guys got cameras, and
Yeah, no.
it's like a TV studio here. So this is pretty sweet.
You're right, because when I was visualizing it, I was like thinking about like one little camera
Totally.
being up
With a cell phone.
exactly like this.
I'm impressed.
That's the way. So, free trail, you got competition.
That's right.
Okay,
Look
free
out.
trail, you got competition. So, Kim, I want to ask you. Let's skip all the pleasantries because I think the majority of people that's watching are avid trail runners. Let's get right to Wild Goose. How did Wild Goose become a conception? When did it start? And what was the idea behind it?
Yeah, the Wild Goose. It's been an evolution. So the first year that we had it, we didn't have the 100 milers. We went up to 50.
Okay.
But the ultimate goal was to do 100, but we wanted to start it off with some of the shorter distances to just get feedback from runners and hear what they liked and didn't like about the course.
Okay.
And we got a lot of great feedback the first race.
When was the first race? When was the first year of Wild Goose?
The first year we did it was 2022.
Okay.
Yeah. And then 23 was the first time we had the 100.
Okay.
Which was Tropical Storm Ophelia, which
Okay.
I'm sure we could chat about.
Yes, we could chat about that one.
Yeah, and then last year we had picture perfect weather like this weekend. That was year 2, and then this is year 3 for the 100.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I was here So 2022 was actually my first half marathon.
Right on. Okay.
Doing that here. So, but before we get into Hurricane Ophelia, what have you thought about the growth from the first one to now?
Oh man, it's wild because the roster topped out yesterday morning when I printed everything at 435 people, which
Right.
is hands down the biggest we've ever had for Sassquad. But the first event we had was really small. If you remember, we probably had 175 that
Right.
first year, and then Ophelia we had maybe 200.
Okay.
Last year we had 343,
Right.
and now we're up to 430 or so.
Yeah, up to
Yeah.
4:30. Yeah, I was shocked because when I came in, I knew it was going to be big because when I came in Friday night, to see how many tents were
Oh
already set up,
yeah, it's cool.
I thought I was going to have more space to set up. So I'm going to set up in front, and then I'm like, wow,
I
there
know.
are a lot of people here.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting, especially since your longer distances kicked off this morning at 7 a.m., being the 100, the 100K, the 50 miler, and the 36 hours. I was shocked at the number of runners running these longer races.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about that in terms of Wild Goose? But I want to say what we've seen in the sport, in the culture. I don't like to call it the sport, the culture of ultra marathon. Where does it seem like more people are now broaching more into these longer distances?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, before the race started, I'm not sure if the cameras are rolling yet, but we always ask, like, who's a first time trail
Right.
runner? Who's a first time ultra runner? Tons of hands went up for first time attempts on an ultra, and especially the 100 mile.
Wow.
So this is what's great about this event is it's 36 hours. So it really gives a generous cutoff for people who are going after their first ultra. But Sassquad, like, you know, you've been around for a while. We tracked a lot of newbies, which
Right.
is what we love. Like, we love the newbies to come out.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about newbies. So my newbie was Hurricane Ophelia.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I want to know about this from your eyes. What was it like first before the race even began and you're tracking the weather and you're seeing this hurricane come up? Let's start there. What were
Oh,
your thoughts
man.
as race director knowing that there's a hurricane barreling down and you have this weekend race, not even a one-dayer, this weekend race that's coming?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many angles you could talk about. I mean, number one, safety was a huge thing. Like, you know, with my team, we were making contingency plans of like, what if we have to pull runners off of the course? What's the communication plan? That what was nice about Ophelia was we didn't have high winds or true hurricane conditions. I mean, it was a tropical storm, so it was just a lot of rain.
Right.
That was the big thing. But I do remember the week of every day looking at the forecast, and it just kept getting worse. And you know, I was bummed out. Like,
Right.
man, this is like that's tough for the runners.
Correct.
But then, you know, we're trail runners, so we had to adapt. And I just started putting the call out of like, we need every pop-up tent in the state to come out. And it was like tent city. It's funny. I was just talking with the crew. I'm like,
Right.
how did we even do that? Like, everything was wet. I mean, nothing stayed dry, but like 36 hours is a long time.
Correct. Yeah.
But I just said to those guys, like, I'm still so impressed with everybody who showed up, like
Yeah.
the runners and hikers, whether they finished or not, to just show up knowing what the weather was. Everyone was just incredible that weekend.
Do you think that's because in the trail running culture, because the point of it is to be out in the elements, it's almost like not so much we shrug it off, but it's like it's the elements. And we're just gonna keep going. Yeah, it's rain, it's snow, because we sort of kind of. What do you think?
I think so. I mean, there's probably, you know, we'll stereotype by saying this, but there's definitely a difference between road races and trail races.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really get any emails that weekend asking, like, is the race postponed? Like, people just knew it was going to happen.
Right.
Whereas if it was a road event, like, there's no way that would have gone off. But what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think so because you know, shout out to my guys from you know, Black Men Run North Jersey group, but it's so funny. We have our own like little chat group,
Uh huh.
and it'll be a torrential rainstorm, and I'll see the post from them. Yep, I was gonna go out, not going out, or I went out before the rain got there. Then I post, and I'm drenched. Like, yep, just did 10 miles in South Mountain Reservation.
Yeah.
Waterfall got me. You
Totally.
don't. I don't think it phases us.
Yeah.
I think we part enjoy. I enjoyed when I did my half marathon. I mean, the hurricane was already almost done. There was still some left,
Yeah.
but I had a ball. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. So, what was it like? Okay, those 2 days. What were some of the challenges that you think the runners face, or that you faced in real time because of the elements?
I think for sure foot care was a big thing.
Okay.
And we were so lucky to have our medic Thor, Tasha Thortley. She got a lot of foot care action
Okay.
at that race. But I think for runners, a big challenge was staying warm because
Okay.
you were wet the whole time.
Right.
So I think the runners who were able to stay out there longer and finish,
Mhm.
they were able. I think they did problem solve with figuring out like if they're whether that meant changing or ponchos were a big thing. Like
Okay.
everyone who had one of those ponchos, it's funny. Like they cost probably $2, and
Right.
it was more effective than any rain jacket because rain jackets just they all died at Ophelia.
Like,
But those bomb-proof ponchos, like that's people saw success with that. But
wow.
a lot of problem solving, like that was so fun to watch. Was the crews supporting the runners, but then also everyone just supporting each other. So
Right.
runners were, instead of maybe tending to run solo, they were grouping up, keeping each other out there. I remember runners would come into the aid station and be like, "Does anyone want to run with me? I could use a pacer." And volunteers just hopped in and did some pacing. So
Yeah.
it was a team effort.
So let's talk about that, because it's interesting that you bring up the concept of problem solving, and I said we'll talk about it briefly, but your documentary, The Long Path, about you. Do you do you think? And I remember watching it, and there was a lot of problem solving that had to go on.
Mm.
Do you think that's something that we in the culture maybe don't talk about as much as a part of it? We talk about the fitness, we talk about the nutrition, we talk about the training mileage, but we don't talk. Do we not talk as much or appreciate as much of the problem, the real time, on the
Mm.
ground problem solving that we have to do in a run?
Mm.
You know,
That's a great question.
you know,
Yeah, I think to shout out Shy, he's behind the camera here,
right? That's my
but
man,
that was
Shy,
something
right
that was
there.
it was so cool about the film because a lot of running films don't show that
Right.
side, and I feel like he really highlighted how much the crew did.
Mhm.
Because if you've seen the film or you've heard me talk about it, like there's no way I would have gotten even through the first day without crew because there were just so many issues that came up. Like even if there were no weather patterns problems, like there would have been. It's an ultra run. That's
Correct.
a multi-day thing. There's issues that come up, but then you added in the crazy storms and stuff. It just was kind of problem after problem. But it's funny, coincidence or not, but the long path was in July, and then
Mhm.
Tropical Storm Ophelia was that fall. So I feel like I kind of had to warm up in the long path to come to Ophelia. But
Right.
yeah, for sure. I think the problem solving is something where it's just cool to see the carryover. I think a lot of
Yeah.
runners, like, it takes a conversation like this to bring that out, but I think a lot of people would say, like, it translates to issues that they can work through here in an ultra setting, and then maybe they can use that in, real time, real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, and it's funny you talked about use it in real time, real life. I think, and it's not to take anything away from any other sport, because I think all sports, well, anything you do in life can be a metaphor for life. But I do think that there are so many metaphors with ultra marathons and with trail running
Yeah.
that I see that equate to what we go through in life, and the problem solving. You can't get through things on your own, especially when you're
Yeah.
taking on these long and arduous journeys. And what are your thoughts and on that about people being here? What are your thoughts about the crew members and
Mm.
people crewing? Have you seen a growth with that as well from the beginning of Wild Goose to now? Have you seen the growth of people bringing more people with them to support them?
Yeah, I mean, you look around here. It's so incredible to see all these folks come out. Obviously these are the longer distances here today, but tomorrow we're gonna have a lot of people
Right.
come out because we did this year in registration. We asked folks like, how many crew members are you bringing, spectators, and that total number was like 600 something people of just crew, spectators,
Wow.
pacers, and stuff. So
Wow. How
that's
many people?
about 600 additional people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. So
Wow.
and it's so cool to see folks like whether they're just coming for the finish or if they're going to be here all weekend. It's an amazing experience. Like I tried to the last 2 years get out and just walk through the little tent village
Right.
we have and see the different setups, and I think people are really embracing it as like it's a full weekend experience. Like whether they're bringing friends or family, like there's a lot of kids running around, which is fun.
I see that.
Yeah, but it's cool. I don't know. It's a special thing, I think, to share the weekend with people.
Yeah. Well, let's chat about that. Um, I remember watching. I want to say it was Black Canyon. I think it was Black Canyon. Courtney DeWalter was running, and this is before she DNF'd. But the live stream for that, the numbers were through the roof. Western States this past year, the numbers there in terms of people watching was again through the roof, like
Yeah.
record. There was something at one point in time when everyone was still running. It was something like 36,000 people on the live stream
Yeah, it's a lot
at
of
one
people.
particular time.
Yeah.
So, are we seeing a growth, not just in terms of participants, but maybe more eyes in terms of on the culture, on the sport itself?
I think so. I mean, it helps when you have, like, I think there was, I don't know if it was this last year or the year before, but I think there was a New York Times article about Big's backyard. You know, it's funny because when you've probably had this happen when you talk to people outside of the running culture and you say, "Oh, I'm an ultra runner." A lot of times people will say, like, "Oh, did you do Big's backyard?" And you're like, "No, I wasn't there." But people have seen that documentary.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think word's getting out that there's a bunch of weirdos running in the woods. People want to know more about it.
It's funny you say that. I agree with that. And I agree. I think because I think there's still it's of course that's changing, it's shifting now. But I think that there were a lot of people when they thought about running, they just knew the marathon.
Yeah.
They
for
knew
sure.
the marathon. Maybe some knew the half marathon. It was like you knew the marathon and your local 5K
Yeah.
fun race, right? Because after I did the 100 kilometer, I remember when I did my 100 kilometer in April, and people were still like, "I can't believe you did 100 kilometers." Like
Yeah.
they looked. I would have thought I won. Like the way people, I'm like, I came in,
Totally.
in the middle. But the way people were talking to me, it was almost like I won when I said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I did 100." They was like, "You did what?" So yeah, I think it is great. I absolutely think it is great to see. So I'm curious with that. What do you think is the future of? I want to work backwards here. What do you think is the future of trail running? And even in the short term, up here comes Ben. The legend Ben is coming through.
Ben.
50 miler, and he's going, and I'm not even sure if he's going to stop for nutrition or keep running. We shall see. Oh, he's going. He's just going.
Ben is one of he works with the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference, which is also why we're a big fan of him. He gives back to the trails big time.
I got to get him for an interview.
For sure.
Yeah, he'll finish before he's going to, if he's moving the way he's moving.
He's fast.
Yeah, I got to get him
He's a
for
big
an
runner.
interview. That's man's a beast. So what I was saying to you though is, what do you think is the future of trail running? What are some concerns that you might have, with where the culture is going? And then I really then want you to focus on what's the future of Wild Goose and then Sassquad just in general.
Wow. Good questions. I think starting with the first one, the future of trail running, we use the platform Ultra Sign Up, so they'll send
Right.
out statistics quarterly, and the most recent one that came out, well, consistently it shows the sport overall is growing, but it's the sub ultra distances that are the most popular. Even
Okay.
though the platform's called Ultra Sign Up,
Right.
it's the sub ultra, which is less than a marathon,
Right.
that are exploding. And I think as race directors, we need to remember that. Like sometimes you can get caught up of like, I love the long stuff, you know, it's a lot of fun, but there's so many people out there that have no interest, no desire to do an ultra, and that's super cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's what, you know, we try to do at Sassquad is I think most of our events, the majority of them will have sub ultra distances.
Okay.
And that's something I notice all the time. Like yesterday when I was setting up here before anybody got here, there's people in the parks walking through, and of course they're wondering what's going on. So they come, we have a conversation. I start with a joke of like, they're like, what's going on this weekend? And I said, oh, we're doing a hot dog eating contest. and and you see their jaw drops like, really? And I was like, no, but there will be hot dogs. And then I explain what's going on, and the natural flow of those conversations is always like, I'll ask, like, do you enjoy running or hiking? And they're like, yeah, but I could never do a race. Like I'm not fast enough. I don't run enough. And I always say, like, that doesn't matter. There's people coming out here, they're not going to run at all. They're just going to hike.
Right.
So, you know, I think we saw a big shift during 2020 where people were flooding the parks.
Right.
And I love that. I mean, some people got, you know, they were ticked off about it, but I thought it was awesome. People were getting out. And that's something I think with Sassquad we tried to really focus on is the message of like, you don't have to be a runner. You don't have to be an ultra runner. Come out and hike the 5K. Like, come hike the 10K tomorrow. You literally have, what's the math? 11 hours or 9 hours? I forget what it is to finish the 10K. So, yeah, I think, you know, it's growing in that more people are getting outside and trying it. And that's what we want to do at Sassquad is create that space where, like, sure, you can run 100 miles here, but we also have a kids 1 mile. We have a 10K.
Right.
You know?
Right.
What was your other question about Wild Goose? The future Wild Goose?
Wild Goose. So with that, knowing that we're seeing that happen, we're seeing the growth here. We're already realizing that, you know, barring an asteroid hitting this planet, when you do it next year, nothing else is going to deter people from running again. So, you know, we seem to be all weatherproof. What do you see for the growth of this for, you know, in the short future in terms of participation? Are there any thoughts? I know it's early because we're just kicking off this one here, but are there any visionary thoughts that you're even getting by seeing everything here? You say, wow, it would be great to add this, or however. I'm just curious.
That's a great question. I think the one thing I do want to mention while we're chatting is I think it's important to recognize like the history that comes before us. So Rick McNulty with NJ Trail Series, they started a 100-miler here. It was called the Way On to the Way On to Wonderful 100. I think is what they called it. They don't have it here obviously anymore, but you know, he was really a pioneer in New Jersey with getting the race scene on. And we're friends, and you know, once he left after a couple of years, we came in and started the 100. So yeah, I mean, every year I learned so much from feedback from runners, which with this race especially, like planning for 2026 will start on Monday. And we'll send out a post-race survey. Just started doing a few years ago, and it's so valuable to get feedback from people, because a lot of the changes we've made over the years is directly from runners. Like one of the big ones was pacers. People were feeling really nervous and anxious at night because we're in Sussex County, we're in bear country, and I get it. Like, I totally understand that. So waiting until last year, it was like 11 o'clock or so. That was tough for a lot of people. So, you know, we heard that feedback, and I said, well, why don't we start pacers at sunset? Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter that other races don't do it. We could We can do
Yeah.
whatever we want, you know?
We're out here to have fun.
Totally. Totally. So, you know, if you were to ask Matt Klein up there in the aid station what the future should be, he would say we should do like a 6-day race here. But that's not happening. We're not doing that is not happening. And there's no 200 miler coming. That is not in the cards.
There's no Cocodona East Coast
No,
coming.
we're not. We're not. I know some folks would like that, but it's a hard no. It's a hard no. I think just growing the event and trying to just do it well.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times it's easy to get caught up in like, well, let's make it longer, let's make it bigger, let's make it better.
Right.
But I think trying to make improvements each year to make the experience better for runners and hikers and volunteers too. Like get so much good feedback from volunteers because they're on the ground seeing what's working.
Yeah.
You know, like our check-in improved drastically from last year. It was there were pain points with check-in, and I got feedback from volunteers, and we set it up differently.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, I think just trying to get the word out more. I mean, this is a lot of people who are out of state. They hear New Jersey and they think armpit of America, like. But if you're here, this does not feel like New Jersey at all.
No.
So yeah, I think just getting more folks out.
Okay.
And you know, we started doing some more programming yesterday with a couple panels. We showed the film last night, so I think definitely doing that again next year and just seeing what people want. We got to wait to hear what the feedback is from this year.
Nice. No,
what do you want to see?
Wow, you threw it back on me.
I did throw it back on you. What you got?
Look at that
because
journalistic skill set.
El Monte is a perfect example. You've provided amazing feedback over the years to help Sassquad grow and improve. So, you know, and I tell you all the time, don't be shy. Keep telling me. So, what do you think? Because you've been here as a runner, and now you're here on the other side.
So I'm gonna answer. This is gonna be weird because I'm gonna answer your question with a question back to you.
Okay.
Because it's a thought I had. People that know Way Yonder or most trail events know that trail, especially when you can hold it at an ultra level, are held in reservations, parks, forests that are pretty expansive. They're pretty large, and so sometimes when you do run it, people don't. If you don't know, people may not realize that you're really only running a small percentage of what the actual forest or how expansive the actual forest is.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, and because it comes with a thought, has there been any thought about, especially for the 100-miler and let's just say the 100K, changing the trail a little bit to where people can see a little bit more of the park? I mean, of the forest. For example, Stairway to Heaven.
Oh.
Adding that in. I'm just.
Oh my God.
I had to throw that out
Could
there.
you imagine? Oh my God.
I mean, hey, you could do it in 100 miles.
Well, there is, thankfully for me, you can't have trail races on the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
So that wouldn't even be a possibility.
Got you.
Yeah. And it's a good question of how many miles it is from this spot. There was actually just a park user yesterday who came by and said, "Where's Stairway to Heaven?" I was like, "Oh, you're not in the right spot." I gave him the directions. It's probably a 20-minute drive from here. But yeah, in terms of like expanding the course, we probably wouldn't for this event just because of the setup for this is it's a loop format.
Right.
And there's a lot of aspects of that make it very newbie friendly and crew friendly. Like other 100-milers that have a longer course, you've got crew then is driving all over the place. Here it's contained.
Right.
And I think that helps to minimize the impact on, you know, park staff as well, because all of our parks now more than ever are understaffed.
Correct.
So by containing it here, it's helping them out as well, where we don't have aid stations out on course.
Right.
More traffic and all that, but and it's just kind of cool to have everybody here hanging out for the weekend.
I do.
It makes the logistics a bit easier, I think, for everybody.
I do.
So.
I love it. I love it. I actually, it's funny. One of the ideas I did have, but you already added in, was the 10K.
Oh yes. You've been a big proponent of having the shorter distances. I think is so important.
Yeah, I do, because I think you and I both agree that sometimes the culture, for everybody in culture, sometimes we can forget how intimidating
For sure.
it is for most
Yes.
people that don't that which is why I think for all of us sometimes it's hard to get our running friends. This is not
Yeah.
even getting people that you just want to have come out and get in shape, but even just your running friends
Yeah.
and say, hey, come on out in the trail run. So you have the apprehension, and then we've seen it. We see it now. If you go on Ultra Sign Up, even the names of some of these, like, Death Valley 200.
Oh my God, I know.
Like,
I
I mean,
know.
but what's crazy is they will have in that race, they'll have maybe something that is okay to run, right? Like
Yeah.
a half marathon or something. But if somebody sees that title,
Yes.
it can scare them off. Or somebody's reading, if you go past this, you're on your own because we can't get you out unless we airlift you.
Ex-
And you're like,
Exactly. I know. And this is a whole rabbit hole we
yeah,
can go down, but that's something at Sassquad I think we do try to be really mindful and
right,
intentional about is the language on the website and the registration page
right.
and the race name and the logo and because like you just said, if you have like this ferocious bear with like a white dude in a beard and plaid shirt and it's just
A
it's
machete in one hand, half
yeah,
ski mask, red eye,
totally.
blood coming out the mouth.
Totally. And the race description of like this is the hardest race you will ever run.
Right.
I think there's place, there's something for everybody.
Correct.
For Sassquad, we're just not into that.
Right.
And you brought up a great point too about like when you take a step back, right? Like we are so enveloped in this culture.
Yeah.
For me especially, like this is my job. But if you take a step back and you think about the concept of trail running, it's freaky. Like, okay, guys, you're gonna go out in the woods. Like, let's look at it from a newbie perspective. You're gonna go out in the woods. You don't know where you're going. You don't know anybody there,
Yep.
and you're gonna trust the race organization that they have it marked, that they have food, that they have water, and that they're gonna be friendly. You know what I mean? So you've nailed it. Where like it is an intimidating. It can be very intimidating
Mm-hmm.
for people and for specific groups of people as well, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
And we can go into that or not. But I think as race organizations, that is our goal, to just make it accessible for people.
Right.
And that's all the little things. Like we're going to take care of you at the aid station, and we're going to do our best to make all the info accurate so you can manage expectations and know what you're getting into.
No, I agree with that. And I want to talk about the aid station because I've been blessed to run a lot of trail races and
Yeah.
actually to travel. Like oftentimes in Oregon. I've traveled
Yeah,
there and
yeah.
I've traveled in Quebec.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't run Quebec, I was supposed to run the Quebec Mega Trail. Uh, couldn't because I was injured. But I volunteered there and their aid station was like, wow. But I say that to say outside of Quebec, the best aid station that I've ever seen run is through you. And listen, this is no disrespect to the race directors, especially the ones out west. You and I both know trail races out west tend to get more of the.
Yeah.
You invest a lot though in the aid stations more than I think most. Why is that?
Well, I've been making the joke all weekend that I've lost all control of the aid station here. In the best way possible. Matt Klein and Dougie Wilson, they're our aid station captains.
Yeah.
And those guys are coming from a background where they do the multi-day events. And basically they are making it the way they want it to be, or like they
Correct.
wish it would be at other events. They just go way over the top with everything. But I think that's what makes this race in particular really fun for people. Like if you're coming tomorrow for a 10K and you feel like, man, I need a burger to fuel this 10K, like we have that ready for you.
Mhm.
Where like, do you need it? I don't know, maybe not, but we've got it. So I think we just want to make it fun for people, and the other thing too is having vegan and gluten-free options. That was a
Yeah.
huge feedback. This is a stat that I was so blown away by. We ask in registration who has dietary needs,
Right.
vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free. It was almost 30%
Wow.
of the field were vegan, gluten free. So, yeah, we put out some surveys asking, like, give us specific stuff that you want to
Mm-hmm.
have. So we're trying to do that. That'll be something that will be great feedback after the race.
Wow.
Is I want to hear from them, like, how did we do? Do we need different things? Did you feel like we had enough? Because that's a lot of people. You know, that's a lot of people where, like, if we didn't have, say we didn't have veggie burgers,
Right.
or we didn't have like a rice option, then those people can't eat
Can't
from
eat.
the aid station, which is, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree, and that's why I'm saying you're one of the best. I've been to like very famous uh, trail and ultra races where I was shocked at the limitations of what they have. Is there going to be a point? I know you've had sponsors, like the normal scratch and others, but do you see it getting to a point where you might get a food sponsor that may be in something like the vegan world, the gluten free world, that may want to attach on and say, hey, we see the growth. Like I said, you have 430 runners, but you're going to have amazing amount of spectators. Do you see that, or is that something you want to be cautious of because of how, and salute to all the sponsors, but how sponsors, if we're being very honest, can come and go, and you want to be
yeah.
cautious of when you're meeting out your budget, when you're doing your budget, depending upon something that you don't know from year to year.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if there's a vegan cheese sponsor that's listening to this and is interested in supplying the vegan cheese, hey, that would be great because it is expensive,
Yeah.
vegan cheese. No, I mean, I would totally be open. I always say I'm always open to having a conversation. We've been approached by a couple of pretty large brands, but ultimately just decided, like, the timing's not right, or maybe it's
Right.
just ultimately not a good fit.
Right.
Because, like, if you look around here now, we don't have, there's no contracts right now that are saying, like, you can have that flag up and that tent,
Correct.
you know? So it's nice to have that that flexibility. We
Yeah.
might be giving up some stuff with that, but I don't know. I think that kind of, it allows, like, ultimately we're a local trail race,
Right.
you know, with grassroots vibes, and it allows us to keep that. You know, like, we can have a Sasquatch and an alien on the
Yeah.
blow up arch, you know, without somebody dictating, you know, maybe a brand needs to be on there instead. But like I said, I'm always open to chats, but just so far it hasn't.
But I like, though I'm supposed to pose it as a question. When you're looking at it from the journalistic standpoint, I will throw in my opinion and say I like the fact that it is grassroots. I do believe, if you ask me for an idea, that as this grows in popularity, as trail running as a culture and industry grows, I think the key to keep it as grassroots, as organic and authentic, is going to be the key. And I say that I've read Brian Metzler's article on Ultra Sign Up about beware of the trail running industrial complex.
Yeah.
And to whereas, and we see it, companies coming out with every type of car known to man, and this one, and the expenditures now that people are putting in the gear and everything. And yes, you see the sponsorships, but I would be concerned about, okay, you're doing all that, but what are you giving up to, whereas it's become something too much. There's a
Yeah.
balance, but where all of a sudden there's an authenticity. I guess I'll say this: when I'm looking around, looking behind you, and I'm looking at the authenticity of people sitting by their tents, the runners that are coming through, and it's that, and the sponsors aren't disrupted. There's no disruption to it, to where you have a sponsor that says, hey, we want a panel during this time
Yeah.
to talk to people. We want a whole schedule, and now you're running around instead of doing what you usually do. Now you got to appease the sponsors.
Yeah.
So that's an opinion. I know, as on the
Totally.
journalistic side, I'm supposed to,
Yeah.
but I had to, throw that in. So that's
Totally.
my idea. I love, I just believe that as long as they have to be, I think they have to comply to your culture and the culture
Mm.
here versus we want this. If it doesn't, then I'd say,
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. I think I'd probably be more open to sponsors that are looking to really give back to what we're trying to do. Because I think a sponsorship is it's a two-way street.
correct.
And we have a lot of programs where if a sponsor were to come and say like, hey, I'm gonna sponsor um, your entire um, Hippogriffin program. Like we just started that where it's folks who have any kind of disability,
Okay.
and we're matching them with our volunteers who are
Mm-hmm.
trained, and then we're allowing them. Those athletes are coming to our races free of charge. Like if we were to get a sponsor that'd be like, they want to help
A
us
little
out in
B.
that way.
Uh huh.
Those are the things I would get excited about.
Right.
We have the Hackensack Middle School Happy Feet Running Club. They come out, so there's always dollars to look to pour back in. But yeah, I guess at this point, like we've been approached by some brands, it hasn't been a good fit yet.
Gotcha. Got
Yeah.
you. Let's talk about Beyond Wild Goose. Let's talk about Sassquad just in general because this isn't the only race. For people that do not know, Wild Goose is just one of many different races that you run throughout the year. Uh, if we're looking at this as a precursor to the year potentially coming up, what do you see for your other races? Like, what are your thoughts there? Is there any particular race or event that you're really looking forward to?
Ah, all of them are so fun.
Yeah.
Um, Man, I'm excited. I'm very excited about all of them. So this isn't any particular, but what comes to mind right now is this will be the second year for our new race that we started last year up at Minnewaska State Preserve
Okay.
called the Squatchywaska Mountain Fest. And that again, to acknowledge people who came before us, that was put on by Ken Posner and
Okay.
Todd Jennings of Run Wild. They had an event called the Ellenville Mountain Fest, which I ran. That was one of my first trail races here on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got their blessing, and we brought the event back, put a little squatchy twist on it. But Minnewaska is one of my favorite places on the planet. Like, it's just spectacular up there. And of course, I'm biased because the long path goes through the gunks,
Right.
and the race course part of it is on the long path, which was my favorite section of the whole 360 miles. So that race again was so cool because typical Sassquad weather. It was horrible. We had rain.
I
It was
remember seeing the
cold.
posts and
Oh.
everything.
And it was classic because I'm not exaggerating, it rained until an hour after the race ended, and then it was blue skies and sunny. Everyone had gone home. But what was so cool about it was that runners still loved it. Like,
Yeah.
they came back and I wish I had a hot mic at the finish line because everyone was just, it was like another planet up there on the gunks and on the ridge line, and just blown away by the trail beauty. So
Mhm.
I am most excited to have that race. I'm trying to like manifest good weather for that.
When is it again?
That's it's the last weekend in April.
Okay.
So it went really smooth. We have a great relationship now with the park. They're excited to have us back, so we're approved for the next year. But there's so many races throughout the year. I mean, the leftovers event in November
always love
is a
leftovers.
really fun event. We have so many families come out,
Mm-hmm.
and it's cool. I think just to see the races grow, and most of them are selling out at this point, which is cool. Just to see people excited about it,
Mm-hmm.
and also bringing their friends and
Yeah.
like bringing new people into the squad. I am still like I tell the team like every race I'm blown away by how many people have said this is their first Sassquad race. Like
Right.
it's really cool just to see people learn about what we're doing and then coming out and trying it.
Yeah, I think what was interesting, and I've seen this with the group in Portland, and their name, Go Beyond
Oh
Racing.
yeah.
Um,
Renee's awesome.
Correct.
Yeah.
I did my first 50K with
Mhm.
them out in Portland. That was a real emotional one for me because a lot that I had gone through. and I had aspired to do that. My sister at that time was living out there, went out there, and I got a chance to do the trails. And I said, always want to come back to Portland
Yeah.
to do that. But I say that to say, you and Go Beyond, and I'm pretty sure there are others out there. I think Rumbum also tend to have do. It tends to be more than just putting on races. It tends to be this very big community feel. Like I
Mm.
see, like to me, it's AL. I see, like it's not just like no disrespect to the New York Roadrunners, right? But
Yeah.
you're when you do a New York Roadrunners race, you're coming with your crew,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's what a lot of road races. You're coming with your crew, you're doing your thing, and then you're off. Whereas with certain trail races, you see people and it's a community. It's like,
Mhm.
hey, what's going on? Hey, I mean,
Yeah.
you're not necessarily your crew that you rolled in with,
Yeah.
your run club that you rolled in with, but it's like you see them, you see their kids, you get the,
Yeah.
one of the buddies who I met last year, he just talked about how he just had a kid. We're by the fire pit, and that, and so I'm curious. The reason why I'm wanting to raise that. Do you ever see a time where race organizations may say, "Hey, let's partner on something. Let's do something crazy. Let's partner on something, and let's bring the crews that the people that are in our groups that sort of kind of dedicate to a lot of our races. We bring them all together and we do something." Do you ever see that potentially in trail?
Like, do I see it happening
Yeah.
now?
Or do you see it happening in the future? I know it probably
Oh,
happens here
yeah.
and there, but
Yeah. I think, well, what I love to share this because I know it's not the case across the country, but here in the tri-state, all of us race directors we have good relationships
yeah.
with each other. Like Vanessa Klein is here this weekend running the 100, and she's the owner race director for Beast Coast Productions. They put on events
Really?
in
Okay.
Jersey and PA and Delaware.
Okay.
And we're good friends, and she comes out to my races and vice versa. Like I'll go and volunteer at hers and stuff. And the other RDs in Jersey and New York, we have a great working relationship. And I've gone to race director conventions, trail running conferences, and I talk to other race directors who will say like, that's not the case here in so and so state. Like it's cutthroat and
Yeah.
we're not friendly and it's competitive and scheduling on top of each other. So I really appreciate that, and it's very much like a, what's the word? Maybe a cohort almost, where like we can talk problems out. Like
Yeah.
we have a group chat with a bunch of us where we can problem solve when issues come up. So I just want to say I really appreciate that about race directors. In terms of like teaming up, we are launching a new challenge called the Apples and the Oranges.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard about
No.
this. Okay, you would love this.
Oh,
Actually.
okay. I'm listening.
All right, so we're linking up our Squatch Apple,
Okay.
and then NJ Trail Series has the Feb Apple and the Fall Apple,
Right.
and then the South Mountain Conservancy has the May Apple.
Right.
So these are 4 events that are at the South Mountain Reservation in West Orange, and we're calling it the Apples in the Oranges Challenge. There was a runner who came up with that, and I'm sorry I'm not remembering her name, but whoever you are, you have all the naming rights and trademarks to that. Apples and the Oranges. Basically, you sign up. It's a free challenge, and then if you complete one event in each of the races in a calendar year, so it doesn't matter what distance. So it doesn't have to be like the
a
longest.
Grand Slam apple.
It is a little grand slam of the apples. We're giving out like a little award and a hat. So I think that's kind of a start, right? A little bit of a collaborative effort with
What about
with
a
folks.
what about like a medal, but it's like 4 medals on one?
Well, dude, that's what I was thinking, and it would be an apple.
Yes.
And it's the apple pieces.
Yes.
See, we're on the same page.
Yeah, we are
Great
on the
minds
same
think alike.
page. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. We've talked about this a little bit. I remember you and I chatting when Western States was going on.
Yeah.
We was chatting behind the scenes. Why don't you think East Coast trail running gets as much highlighting as what's happening in the West Coast? I listen to a lot of the podcasts and everything just seems Colorado and West.
Mm.
And of course, I'm not trying to raise that to raise any dissension. I want to listen. Hey, I want to do a few out in the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's all good. But I just think that to me, the beauty of East Coast, the beauty of the woods, the beauty just from the
Mhm.
authenticity of trail running in itself is so much in the East Coast. But I find that it's not covered. Is it a matter of? So let me nuance this question. Is it a matter of that it's not so much that the trail races are covered? Is it just more that maybe the elites, and I'll be honest, I
Mm.
can't stand that term.
Yeah.
Elites,
I know, right?
I just don't, and I think even people that consider themselves elite don't like it either.
Mhm.
But is it because more of the quote unquote elites of the sport run more of the races? Many of them are rooted in Colorado or
Yeah.
Arizona. Is it because of that that it gets the most attention, or is there just a general bias? I'm just curious on your end.
That is a great question. There could probably be a dissertation written on it at some point. I don't know. If I were to have to take a guess, I mean, I think probably historically, Western States is a very historic
Right.
event, and it's become, probably one of the most well known, if not the most well known, 100
Yeah.
in the country. An event like Hard Rock 100 as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like these are all really big popular events, which
Right.
are based out, on the West Coast, and now, you know, we've been there. So I was there crewing this last year, and it is so crazy. Like Western States
Yeah.
is wild. Like just the sponsorship presence alone, it's just everywhere. So it's a whole big production. But that's probably it too, right? Like
Yeah.
the dollars are there from sponsors and stuff. Probably people when they think of beautiful trails, Sussex County, New Jersey isn't probably top on the list. You know what I mean? Like they're probably thinking big mountains out in the west. But we've got some good stuff out here on
Yeah.
on the East Coast, and we don't believe in switchbacks out here. Like it's
Right.
just straight up,
Straight up.
straight up, straight down. There's a lot of rocks.
Yes.
We are big fans of the rocks. But I don't know. Do you have an opinion? What do you think?
Um, I think it's a lot of what you said. But I don't. But I think that it may be that it may be. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Um, it may be just a matter of that's what that community knows, and they haven't
Mm,
really ventured out. I would love to see Free Trail and others just
yeah.
venture out, and it doesn't have to be all the big name. Like, don't wait for UTMB to do like something. I think they're doing like Grindstone or something in Virginia. Like, come on out to some of these events and everything, because when you think about trail, in my opinion, and this is what I hope, and that's why I really appreciated Brian Messler's article about beware of the trail running
Mm-hmm.
industrial complex. Is I would hate to see us get away from the simple essence of what trail running is.
Yeah.
We're going running in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, we're running in the woods. If your trail is mountain, we're going running in the mountains.
Yeah.
You know, um, and I think that if we can maintain and always anchor in to looking at it from that end, and also looking at it at the end of a trail runner, I think trail runners and hikers. I'm gonna maybe say something as an assumption. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make an assumption. I'm not gonna make it as a fact. I believe trail runners have more in common with hikers than road runners.
For sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's my opinion. And so if I go on that assumption, why does a hiker hike? Why do they seek out other places?
Mm-hmm.
There is a curiosity.
Yeah.
There is, I want to explore this mountain, or I want to explore this land. I want to explore. And so I say that to say the way the bias I think leaves is if those on the podcasting side, those on the media side, those that have become the voices in a sense of of trail running,
Mm-hmm.
um, say, you know what, let's go out because we want to explore. We want to explore way yonder state
Yeah.
forest. Like, sure, let's find out who are the top runners here. That's great. all right, maybe the elites aren't running. Maybe a David Roche is or Rod Farvar is not running. A Courtney Dauwalter or Tara Dower is not running. But let's go see what this. I mean, we're camped out on a lake. Like, listen, ladies and gentlemen, look, you should have been. Thank you. Should have been here last night. Sun was setting. If you would have seen how this lake looked with the sun setting, I sent a picture to a couple of friends. It was picturesque. It was picturesque, and that's my point. I think that if we don't lose sight of that,
Yeah.
I think if we say, yeah, okay, it's about the runners, but we're in some great places. And last thing I'll say, and I want to kick it back to you. You know who really, and he's my favorite. And by the way, shout out to David Roche. David personally shot me some training plans.
Yeah.
Chatted with him. Great guy. Killian Jornet, right? And what I love about Killian is he stayed. I hope people don't miss this. He stayed true to Mother Nature. He talked about how he's coming back because he's like, wow, he's fascinated by the different peaks.
Yeah.
He's going to do the peak challenge. He
Yeah.
had 12 or 14 peaks. But he's fascinated by that. It's not about podium. It's not about nutrition. There's no medal. There's no fastest time. He's just like, I want to explore this place. And I think if we can, I don't want to say get back to, because I don't want to assume that we've lost it. But I do think that if we can stay rooted and strengthen that part of, guys, yes, there's these competitions. Yes, people are going to podium. People are going to get buckles and medals. But golly, there are some damn great places to explore here.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mean to go on a rant, but
No, I love that. I think it's cool. I think what's fun, for me, I get to talk to a lot of runners, as a race director. I think one of the coolest things that I hear, that I love to hear, is when people come to a race.
Right.
We'll take this park, for example. A lot of people have never been here before. So they're experiencing a new place for the first time.
Right.
And then I'll hear during the year, maybe I'll get a message that said, like, I just went back to Wawayanda because I loved it. This happens a lot with Stoke State Forest out in the northwest corner. People go there and their minds are blown. Like, so many people will say, like, this is my first time at Stokes for the Thunder Chicken Squatch.
Let me interrupt here.
Yes,
Ladies
yes.
and gentlemen, the best time to go to Stokes, the absolute best time to go to Stokes is after a rainstorm. Go the day after a rainstorm and walk by that river. You have to see it. And I raise that because I'm glad you raised that. I mean, I want to get back to what you're saying there. I remember when I did Thunder Chicken Squatch last year, and it was the day after. It was either the day or two after that huge rainstorm we had, and I literally slowed down on purpose because it was so green and the water was so flowing, and I was just like, I'm just gonna enjoy this. I think I like slow down like 15 to 30-second pace.
Yeah.
Just to enjoy it. You're right.
Totally. I love that about Stokes because it has these PNW vibes.
Yeah.
Until you look down and it's just so aggressively technical. Like PNW has like the dreamy pine single tracks.
Yeah.
And Stokes, like, you really do have to slow down or stop to hike because otherwise you're gonna go flying.
Oh yeah.
It's just so technical. It's the Jersey Highlands. But
it is.
Yeah, Stokes is a really special place.
Love Stokes. I can I'm hoping to do it next year.
Awesome.
Love Stokes. I can't get that picture when I got down and I saw that, and to see the aggressiveness of the water flowing, I was just like,
it's so
this
beautiful
is
there.
phenomenal.
It's awesome. Yeah, in the summer it's always bursting with mushrooms too, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think about being you both? I think everybody here has a true honor of nature, right? And we've seen. I'm not going to get political, but we've seen, like you talked about, the reduction in staff.
Yeah.
We understand where things are with climate change. What more can we do, those of us in the trail? I'm going to throw in the hiking community too, because I think they're in the same wavelength as us. What more can we do? What more awareness, or even what more of us getting out there and saying and picking up the slack to, whereas because of the park, I used to be a park ranger, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I worked for the National Park Service when I was in my junior year at college
Get
up
out.
in Boston. Yep. For the
You never cease to amaze me on
the Black
my.
History, the African American Trail up there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
going to
out.
Boston Underground Railroad. Yep.
Oh,
Shout out to my G16 people. Shout out to my G16 people. You know who you are. Um, so yeah. So, but what more do you think, or
mm,
what can we start doing? Is there anything in the pipeline that has been talked about to pick up the slack and help out?
yeah, that's a great question. You know what immediately comes to mind is my friend Carolina Rubio McWright. She
Yeah.
always says that instead of trying to think about saving the whole world, think think about where you can get involved in your culture and your community with
Right.
whatever topic that is. Doesn't matter. So if you take the trails, I think the most basic thing you can do is when you're out on the run, you see a piece of trash, pick it up. You know, and there's always trash. I think on most trails
Yeah.
at some point. So picking it up when you're out there. For the Wild Goose 100 and the 36 hour, like many other events in the sport, we have a volunteer requirement. So we say 8 hours, you have a year to do it. And we're very generous in the ways you can accumulate
Mm-hmm.
your hours. A lot of other races will be very strict on, like, it has to be trail work with an official organization. For us, I'm like, I just want people to get out there and
Right.
give back in some capacity. So we allow things like when you're out on your run and you're picking up trash, just try to be mindful, like, do it every run. Like, you're
Right.
going to eventually accumulate 8 hours. But it can be, getting involved with local organizations.
Right.
I'm sure if you went to your favorite park and talked to a park ranger or park staff there and say, hey, how can I help? There's probably a very long list that you can get involved with. But yeah, I think, just trying to be mindful of when you're out there and you're taking care of the trails. And I mean, it could be something like if you see somebody else dropping trash, don't be a jerk about it, but you can do a little education. Just be
Right.
like, hey, this isn't somebody else isn't gonna pick it up. Like, let's take care of it. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. No, that's great. So, bringing this phase to a close, let's talk about the golden hour, folks.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
What are your what's so there's something so special about the golden hour, right? There's something, because I'm gonna hold my opinion, my thoughts. What are your thoughts about the golden hour, especially at a place like Wild Goose, and when that takes place, the entire setting, everything? What are your thoughts? How does it hit you?
Oh, I mean, by that point in the race, I'm pretty fatigued personally.
Right.
So the emotions are already there, but like, you can't help but get emotional when you're watching people finish at any point of the race, but especially the last hour, because they've been out there for literally 35, 36 hours.
Mhm.
Last year, we had a few people finish in the last hour. One of them, our last finisher, John Monroe, he's here this year. He's crewing his wife, who's running the 50. But John, he's obviously now 71, but last year he was
Gotcha.
70. And he was our final finisher. He crossed with about maybe 15 minutes left. And that was after he was at Ophelia the first year. He
Right.
DNF'd at mile, like, 90, 87 or 90.
Uh-huh.
And he came back to finish.
Wow.
So it's incredibly special. I mean, to see and to just know how hard they've been working, how many problems they've solved,
Yeah.
and also seeing crew. Like, crew is as much a part of that as the runners are. And some race directors like to be right at the finish line and, like, do the hug. I like to stand off and just, like, that's their moment,
Yeah.
and the crew to hug each other. And I love watching that. It's like the most special thing.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Kim, as always, I'm proud to call you a friend. I think a lot of people really love what you do. I'm very proud of you. We all are. And I would like to thank you and thank you for this wonderful interview. And congrats to another successful event.
Thanks, man. This is it's a team effort.
Yes,
So volunteer dream team.
indeed.
They're making the trail magic happen.
Yes.
So thanks, man. This was super fun.
All right, it was absolutely. Love sitting down with you.
Right on.
All right. And this is Sassquad Trail Runners. We're at the Wild Goose Trail Festival. Sassquad Squatchy Worldwide. I'm Elmani Viney. I am your host with Shy as the director. And thank you for listening in to this interview. And we'll be back later on in the stream with some more compelling interviews throughout the weekend. Take care. Peace.